Gentlemen, welcome to the Be the Man podcast. I'm your host, Greg Denning. I'm the creator and coach of the Be the Man Masterclass and Tribe. And I sincerely hope you will consider joining us. It is a group of great men who will together. It's just a group of guys we all need as men. We need a group of men that we can have in our corner to do life with, and we can have the tools and the tactics to do it well so that we can eliminate some of the things we're feeling pain and remorse over and regret and hurt. We can stop some of the foibles and the faults and be more patient with our kids, more affectionate with our wives, get our marriage, the magic back, to really show up and win and work, right? To have that influence that we need, and to get the results. Sometimes it just these results we want feel just so elusive, like they're just out of our reach. And we can get those things, right? We can grab hold of them and just have a little extra support, and to invest in that kind of learning and make it a regular part of how we do life. And I wholeheartedly believe that the triple trifecta that I teach in there and outline, and I'm working on 2 books right now, and I'm putting them in the books. But this, like, the most valuable thing, this is framework for men to just succeed and win, to be healthy and wealthy and genuinely happy, to have our minds in the right place, our hearts in the right place, our souls in the right place, to get that closeness to God and to do the thing that we were born to do. Man, I love this stuff. So I hope you'll consider joining us. We want you in there. All right, so in the last episode, we talked about being prepared, all the crazy things that are happening, and then got a great question, follow-up question for that. So I wanted to hit that today. Here's the question came in. It said, hey, I just listened to your podcast on the tragedies we're witnessing right now in our world. Will you do a podcast on how to physically prepare and what you think financially people should be doing? I totally get the spiritual preparation of being in tune and deeply reading and pondering. To this is my part. I would add to this and writing. Make sure you're spending time writing. Writing is the magic key to thinking, and there's something magical that happens in writing. And you can do journaling or just writing. I just love free writing. You just write. You just write your thoughts. You write in your questions. You capture things you're thinking about as you're reading, as you're thinking, you're experiencing things. Just write about them. And it was so hard for me to write. I struggled writing. I never wanted to write. Reading and writing were really hard for me as a kid and even as a teen. I just despised it. It seemed like such a chore. But I write every day. And multiple times throughout the day. I'm writing in the morning, in the evening, throughout the day. I just write all the time. So much comes up. There's actually a great book called Accidental Genius about that. And his whole point of the book is just start writing. It's like you want water, so you have to turn on the faucet before you get the water. And you want warmth from your fire, you have to go start the fire and light it up before you get the warmth. You can't say, give me some water and I'll turn on the faucet, or give me some warmth, then I'll go ahead and light the fire. He says you have to start it that way. So just start writing and it'll come up. So I would add writing to that. And then he also says, and possibly talk about communities and what communities can do, or about forming communities. And so I'll dive into that. So what can we do physically to be prepared? And I think this isn't just for the crazy times we live in, although it makes it more relevant and more important. It's just for life. Just every aspect of life. We have to be ready. We have to be prepared. There's just no telling what's coming. You never know what you're going to come across, what you're going to experience. One of my good friends was on a business trip in Europe recently, and they were out sightseeing and came across a person that was dying right in front of them. They weren't breathing, and had immediately begin chest compressions, and like he didn't feel prepared, and he sent me messages like, man, I was performing below what I expected myself, right? And you never know what's coming, whether it's you're driving along and you see a car accident, or you see a fight, or there's a natural disaster. Like we're in Turkey right now, and Turkey just got absolutely rocked by some horrendous earthquakes. And I mean, things like this are happening all the time. And maybe so far in life, we've been in this period of like real peace and calm. It's been interesting to observe and study and learn about. And maybe so far in your life, you're like, you haven't ever come across anything. Maybe it's been so rare, you're like, man, I've never really needed it. I've never needed the first aid kit. I've never needed the food storage. I've never needed that skill set to defend myself. It's just never happened. And I think if we assume that it's not going to happen, it puts us in a very vulnerable and exposed position of naivete, right? We're just thinking, well, because it hasn't happened, it's not likely to. And I just don't see that. It's just not my experience. And things are changing in major, major ways globally. And even if you've been living in the best area and the best neighborhood, and you just so great, and that's fantastic, that's wonderful. I'm happy for you, genuinely. But unfortunately, I mean, and there's a lot of goodness in the world. There's a lot of great people. I still believe that. We're out traveling like crazy with our whole family. Just love it. And people are so good. But there is evil lurking in every corner. And it's spreading like wildfire. And it's coming into every area of life. And chaos and mayhem have been around. And that's the history of the world, and it's going to come. So please, 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 and I know I said this before and reiterate it, but I'm just going to reiterate it again. Do not be so naive to think, well, it hasn't happened before, so it's really not important. Let's really lean into this physically. So the question is, what can we do physically to prepare? Let's start with your body. There have been so many instances, and I'm assuming for you as well, but definitely for me and for people I know, where we have absolutely needed physical fitness and physical stamina and good health. Can you think of a more vulnerable time than when you're just sick or weak? I mean, you're just, not only can you not help yourself and you're exposed to somebody else taking advantage of you, or some situation taking advantage of you where you can get hurt or killed, but you can't help other people. There's been so many times I've observed others that because they're out of shape, because they're overweight, because they're unhealthy, well, okay, let's move away from being prepared for something. They just couldn't take advantage of really cool opportunities to do once in a lifetime things. And so it's a valid question to ask yourself right now, like, are you in that kind of condition? If your buddies call you tomorrow and be like, oh my gosh, we just had this opening, we're going to go climb Mount Kilimanjaro, can you join us? Are you ready? Or we're going to go take off and go do this extraordinary thing. Can you come? And you have to keep yourself, and this is my life philosophy. Like I want to be in a condition that at almost any moment I can take advantage of really cool opportunities. Right? At an absolute bare minimum, at any moment of my life, I want to be able to drop down and do 50 push-ups, or be able to walk out the door and run at least a 5K. And that's the just bare minimum. Right, I've been doing some crazy hard workouts with my teenagers. We go over to this little local park here, and we make up workouts and just go hard. It is awesome. We're all experiencing the soreness of a great workout, and it's fantastic. We're loving it. And you guys, a little side note here. We had a bucket list weekend, literally. Went to the ancient city of Ephesus, where the Apostle Paul preached for 3 years. And then I learned that John was also there. I learned that Cleopatra and Mark Antony were there. I mean, this place was spectacular, and the library especially just really, really impressed me. One of the best. I mean, obviously, it's the carving now. It's an ancient city, so the stonework is there for this. I think it was 2 or 3 story library they had. Like, wow, it was phenomenal. And then, through serendipity, you go out looking for great things, and you find these unbelievable things you didn't even know existed. We ended up going to a couple other ancient cities, and then the opportunity just popped up right in front of us to take our family up in a hot air balloon, and we've always wanted to but never have. So we took the whole family up in a hot air balloon, and we went up early in the morning over this ancient hot springs, and these pools and these ancient ruins in one of the wealthiest cities, 2,000 years ago in Asia Minor. It was unreal. So cool. So awesome. Okay, so back to physical. Get your body in peak condition and just keep it there. And some of you are going to have to pay a price to get there, and that's okay. Pay the price. It's worth whatever you have to pay. So clean up your eating and get to a place where you just you eat delicious and nutritious food, and that's that. Done. In fact, if you need some more on that, Rachel and I just recently did 2 podcasts about food on the Extraordinary Family Life podcast. So there's a lot in there about food, and I'm happy to share recipes and strategies. Again, in the masterclass, I share this kind of stuff. Just constantly, what should we be eating? How much should we be eating? When should we be eating? How can we just keep our bodies in a phenomenal condition? And my philosophy is get in the best health of your life and stay there for the rest of your life. So make sure you are, and it's functional fitness. Like, could you pick somebody up? If you needed to, could you pick somebody up and carry them? Right? And that has happened to me so many times. Can you do it? Can you help somebody? Can you carry your own load? Can you help somebody else carry their load? Can you even go on a backpacking trip right now, whether it was for fun or for an emergency? Could you travel far and then go help for hours and hours and hours? I mean, could you really put some strain on your body and your mind and your spirit to be prepared to help? Or just to have fun. Again, I don't want this to be like heavy, like it's just, gloom and doom. It's not. Like, this is just a way of life. Like, there's so many great things that you and I can only do if we are in peak physical condition. So full body workouts, head to toe. Make sure you can move your body around and lift your weight. And I have this quiz. It's called the mushy modern man syndrome quiz, right? And it's just some simple things of like, can you get up off the ground without using your hands? And, how often are you challenging yourself? Are you getting in cold water? Or are you doing difficult things, right? And there's a bunch of good questions in there. You ought to go to the site and take the quiz. It's fun just to really think through that. And there's a whole section on physical, just like, how you doing? Where are you at? So get in fantastic shape physically. Whole body workouts, lean muscle, a good body fat percentage, BMI, have a blood panel done so you have a full reading on what's going on inside your body. That's a really great thing to do. When we did it, it cost maybe a couple $100, but they give you a complete reading on everything that's happening inside your body. It's super good to know. Super good to know. And you can find out about like your testosterone levels, your cholesterol levels, your whatever. Like, you want to know what's happening on the inside of your body. So those are some things you can do directly physically. You also want to stack up on vitamins. We always have lots of vitamin C, lots of vitamin D. We love garlic pills. It's super good. I carry some activated charcoal with us. That's good for any kind of stomach bug. If I were you, I would just have a nice stash of over-the-counter medication that you can have for any common stuff, common colds, diarrhea, stomach aches, vomiting, pain medication. Get some pain relievers. Have some acetaminophen and some ibuprofen around. And just have a little bag, a little go bag, and we just put it in like a little, like a heavy duty plastic bag we zip up. And we have medication ready, and we have vitamins and supplements ready. I have a long supply of supplements, and we travel with them, but you can have them there ready. And if you need to grab them and go, or if something happens, you're just ready, right? So have some vitamins and be taking care of yourself. I can't emphasize that enough. If you're eating well and you're exercising and you're living a good life, you got the supplements and vitamins if you need them, and medication if you I rarely take medication, but if you need it, it's there, it's available, right? I think that's a really great thing to do. I would also stock up on good food. So again, each of you has to decide what your family needs to do and what specific needs your family might have, because I don't know where you are in the world or what's going on. But one of the things I would do is I would get and we're out traveling, so a big deep freezer doesn't travel very well. But I would get a big deep freeze, and I would go find a farmer who raises cattle. So I get grass-fed, pure cows, and I would probably buy a whole cow, have it all chopped up and prepared by a butcher, put a whole cow in the freezer, and so I have the meat, and then find an egg source. I actually have chickens at one of our places, but I would have hens if you can, so you get your own eggs. Raise some of your own meat if you can. If you guys have land, man, raise some of it. And then you get some survival foods, right? They aren't great for you, but if you're in desperate need of survival, that'd be fantastic. So I would have plenty of food and healthy food. You guys, stop buying the garbage. Get healthy food, fill that pantry full, and get buckets and prepare stuff. Obviously, you guys know this stuff, but have you done it? Like, so a lot of you have heard this before, you know about it, but have you done it? Do you have a legitimate, like, they call it a go bag or a 72-hour kit? And, some people have a different philosophy. They're like, I'm not going anywhere. Like, because and this for me, I'm like, man, 72 hours, like, I'd have to fill up a whole truck for my family. I'm taking everything so we can survive indefinitely. But when the kids were little, I put together a backpack. It was a 50 to 60 pound pack, but no joke, we could have survived for weeks and weeks and weeks. And again, it's not fearful. It's being prepared, and it's all the stuff I use for backpacking, and now I use it when we go out on humanitarian rescue trips and things like that. That's what I take. I just take that bag. So I've got it out here with us, and it's ready. We can go. I've got water filtration, so we can drink water from anywhere in the world. If we don't have to worry about water. I have great stuff for that now. I have all kinds of food and snacks in there that doesn't go bad, and you can keep it. But just have all those things ready. If you are into, I was going to say, if you're into guns and weapons and get some, I would say everyone should have something to protect themselves and take some classes and get some skills. So my favorite is Krav Maga. It's an Israeli martial arts, and it's phenomenal. It is just blunt, direct, end the fight, protect yourself. It's not a sport. You don't go to tournaments. It's like, this is the real deal. It's protecting yourself. I love it. But go take any kind of legitimate self-defense class. And there's every level of skill on this. There's some hardcore ones being taught all around now, and they're worth it. So take some skills, learn how to defend yourself, have some weapons around, learn how to use weapons. Recently listened to a book and had my kids listen to it, which is absolutely fantastic. They loved it. It's called When Violence is the Answer. Great book, and a great framework in there. And honestly, read that book, because your greatest weapon is your mind, hands down. And then having some simple skills and philosophy and just an ideology will make you way better able to protect and defend yourself and others. So those are some of the physical things. Get food, get medications, get your body just super healthy, get into functional fitness. Have good gear, you guys. Buy high quality things. Have some good quality shoes and a couple pair of them, and good quality clothes. You can go out in the elements. Again, this is for life, right? I have all this stuff so I can have fun. I can play. I can go anywhere in the world. I'm ready for stuff. But I'm also, if anything goes down, I'm like, okay, I got it. I have great gear. I have really great rain jackets, coats, layers, merino wool based layers. Those are our favorite thing. We're traveling. The whole family has those. Just get all those things. So a generator, right? You might want to have a generator on hand. Again, you know all this stuff. You've heard all this stuff from other people, but do you have it? Are you taking the courses and the classes? If you own a firearm, for example, you should be regularly taking firearms classes from highly qualified people. Make sure you know how to use that thing. And again, the self-defense, the martial arts classes, the training class, just be fit and active and healthy and alert and alive. Be reading all the time. And kudos to you and praise for listening to this podcast, because you care and you're showing up. Be going through the books. Keep your mind sharp and active. Get your house in order. Like, have everything organized. Know where stuff is. Keep it clean and neat and organized. Keep your vehicles in good condition, and have. So like what I teach my guys in the master class, like you should have a really really great first aid kit, and know how to use it. Go get the training and know how to use it, and then have one of those in each of your cars, and in the house, maybe a couple in the house. And just be ready. Have one that you can take with you when you go out, on a backpacking trip or out traveling, and have one that's in the house. Have a big one in the house. And be familiar with it and know how to use it and keep it updated. Like, just think through all these scenarios and make sure that you've got some kind of rescue equipment in your vehicles. Like oh man, we we go out and we'll either rent cars or we'll go out and come across people that I met this guy, just super great guy. He was out traveling with his dad. His dad was quite elderly, and so he hit a curb. They were from Spain. They drove all the way to the very, very, very bottom of Portugal. They were lost, thinking their hotel was right there, but it wasn't. And he had rubbed up against the curb and got 2 flat tires. He did not have any spare tires. He didn't have a jack. He had nothing in his car, and his poor dad was so cold. So he waved us down, and he didn't speak any English. Luckily, we spoke Spanish. And he was like, "Hey, can I ask you to take my father over? He's tired. He's cold. Can you take him over to the hotel?" And we're like, "Yeah, of course, right?" And it was so awesome. He just started speaking Spanish, not knowing if we spoke any Spanish or anything. And there's another thing. So what's something you do? Learn another language. Learn multiple languages. Learn how to communicate with people. I mean, figure this stuff out. Like, you're training your brain. It's opening up a whole world to just understand more, connect more, and serve more. So we were able to help him out, but he had nothing in his car. So make sure that everything's kind of squared away, and you have tow ropes, you have jumper cables. Just be prepared. And for the most part, like what's really cool about all this is I've almost never had to use any of this stuff for my own family, but I've been able to use it for other people so many times because I was prepared. I've just been able to serve and help and rescue people, and in a few occasions actually save lives because I gained the medical skills. You should all take some kind of like advanced first responder course. That's something absolutely you should do, like a wilderness first responder or something like that. I mean, there's so many good options, so many good options, but those are things you should be working on. Just go ahead and schedule them, make the investment, get it all squared away, go through your whole house, make sure it's all squared away, just make sure you're ready. Think through scenarios again, and don't be fearful. I'm not, this isn't gloom and doom, this isn't pessimism, the sky isn't falling. It's like, let's just be prepared, because then you actually have more peace and more confidence and more readiness, and you're far less likely to experience something when you're prepared. It's amazing how that works, but then you're ready to help other people. So that's kind of just on the physical. If you have any other specific questions, just reach out. As far as financial, I think through this quite a bit. Obviously, I one of the inside the master class, and what I referenced at the very beginning, the triple trifecta, the third trifecta is finances, and inside that one is income, expenses, and investments. And for finances, you should be dialed in on all of those things. In an ideal situation, you're actually increasing your income every quarter. Your income's growing. You're doing something to level up your skill set, to be an asset, to make sure you're not, your skills are not expiring, or a lot of skills, because we live in such a disruptive economy, a lot of skills just become obsolete. Like, they get replaced by technology or like a new industry. So make sure you're always keeping up on your skills, keeping up on your income. You're seriously leveling up, and I would say multiple streams of income is an ideal. If you can have income coming in from different places, and again, I'm going to hold up the ideal here that your income should be going up every quarter, right? And you should be earning money in a very sustainable, healthy way that is never neglecting your health or your family or your well-being or your time. You should have plenty of time off and be able to enjoy life and have hobbies and travel and see the world, experience things and serve and make a difference. That should be awesome. So make sure your income is totally dialed in. Then make sure your expenses are dialed in. Too many people are just, they're spending their money on junk, or they're just, money's going out the door, they have no idea where it's going, or they're wasteful, or their spouse is blowing money, kids are there's money going everywhere and they don't know where it's going, and it's going to entertainment or fluff or garbage, or they're not making any investments, they're just spend, whatever it is. Like, make sure that your expenses are dialed in, and that what you're spending is completely in line with who you want to be and how you want to live life, and both your short-term and long-term goals. It's interesting to me that people spend money, because money, the way you spend your money defines you and determines your future, right? So how you spend money, it defines you, and it refines you, and it creates your future. It determines, where you're going. So look at all your expenses, and don't just assume like, oh, it's just the way it is. It's just an expense. Really reevaluate. It's like, do we need that? Do we have to pay that? Do we want to pay that? Is that the best use of our money? Is that leading us to the life we want to live and the people we want to become? For us, for our family, we are spending the most amount of money is going towards experiences, which is leading to growth and improvement and understanding holistically in our minds and bodies and spirits and our education. For our whole family, we're spending massive amounts of money for education and learning and experiential learning and just growth and development, becoming our best self. So that's where we're investing. And it's an investment into us as people becoming assets, and raising our children to be assets and not liabilities, to be givers and not takers, to be contributors and not consumers. So make sure your expenses are lined up there, and then make investments. Investments, I would say, again, I'm holding up some ideals here and things just for you to consider. You should have short-term savings, ideally, and a long-term savings as well. And then I would say an ideal is investments. The best investment you can ever make is in yourself. So invest in yourself. Invest in your skills. Invest in your knowledge. Invest in tools, but not just tools like in the garage, like tools like I was just talking about, like medical tools and food tools, health tools, like creation tools, generated, like invest in all things that be tools that you would need just to live a better life. Invest in those, invest in yourself, and then invest in, if you want to invest in some kind of form of real estate, and invest in your own business, which is, I would say, the first place. And this is from Warren Buffett. He said the best investment you ever make is in yourself. The second best is in your own business. And the third, he said, is in other businesses or in stocks or in real estate, right? So you should be regularly making contributions into some kind of investment. You could have a place that's yours. So one of our preparations, right? This is both. Actually, this one hits all of them. It's community and finances and physical preparation. Is we have a property that's completely paid off, all squared away. We're literally having a well put in as we speak. They're digging a well so we can have our own water. We don't have a generator yet, but I had one and then sold it for a move, so we got to get a generator. But we're raising animals. We're just investing. So we have this place where we can just go and be. I mean, we love it, right? We can just be there and enjoy it, have an escape. Or if we needed, like things got crazy somewhere, it's like we have a getaway, and we can just go and like not merely survive, but actually thrive, because we're making investments. So you might want to invest in solar. You might want to invest in some land. You might want to invest in water as being off grid. Again, I'm just throwing out ideas here. You got to decide where you are. Some of you live in apartments in the big city, and some of you live out in the country and have tons, hundreds of acres or thousands of acres. Like, think through all this stuff. You might want to have something in the country, and it's kind of away, and something in the city. You might want to have something in other countries. Like our ideal, we want to have multiple properties in different countries and continents even. So, well, just for fun, just for joy and awesomeness, but also it's a great investment financially. And if something were crazy happening, it's like, okay, we'll go over here or go over there, wherever things seem unstable. And again, that's just an ideal we have. We've already got places on 2 continents, and we're actually searching right now for a 3rd continent. and making those investments. So short-term savings, long-term savings, increase your income, manage your expenses, spend money where get its best bang for its buck for really, truly living and becoming just superb human beings, and then investments in things that will help you in the short term and in the long term. And invest in tangible things that will be valuable in an emergency, and just in life in general, that'll just be valuable to have, and then invest in things that over the long run will create wealth, even generational wealth. Right? And again, I know I'm hitting on this stuff surface, and we dive deep in all this in the masterclass and our live trainings and the coaching I do. But again, we have to cover this thing in a holistic approach, like your whole life. That's why I always talk about holistic optimization. You want to optimize every single part of your life so you're ready and prepared. The last element of the question was about community, what communities can do or how you can build a community. And I think it's amazing how much influence the people you have in your life have in your life, right? If that makes sense. The people in your life have a massive amount of influence in your life. And sometimes people struggle to see that or experience it until they meet a completely new level, a new caliber of people, and spend time with them, and they're blown away. They didn't realize it before because you just get used to what you're used to, and then you get around a different caliber of people, and you're like, what? Like this is unreal. It's such a different experience. So my invitation would be, find people who are super high caliber. And I guess if I could define that, I would say they're really high in character and really high in competence. Now, those kind of people are rare. They really are. And you got to have both. If you only have character, then you can trust them, but if they lack competence, they're not much of an asset. On the other side, if they're very competent, they've got lots of skills and they're an asset, but they lack character, you can't quite trust them because you never know what they might do. So you really want to be that caliber person with massive amounts of character and competence, but you also want to be around those people. So my invitation is build those relationships, get around those people, and go find them. Go find out where they are, what they're doing, and seek them out, because they're in my experience, they're scattered all over the world. There's no one gathering where they all are. They're just all over the place. Go find them and build those relationships. Invest in those relationships. Keep that up so that you have people you can call on just to have great friends, and they can call on you, and you have this network. But also, if things get tough, you can make a phone call or send a message, and you've got somebody there to help. As I've built those kind of relationships and literally have friendships all over the world, and it's just naturally come about as we're traveling and meeting people and serving and helping and loving and connecting. We have good friends now, like in every industry and on many continents. So at any time, like I have friends that are so connected in, well, like protection, right? And like if there was real serious like emergencies, I have friends that are like, hey, if you've ever getting in any kind of serious trouble, just give me a call. I have influence. Like, let me know. And others, like friends who are doctors, and if we bump up against something, I call. We had it recently, or just a couple weeks ago. I got some kind of horrible internal infection. It was bad. So I just reached out to a buddy. In fact, I have a few friends that are physicians. I just reached out and said, hey, these are my symptoms. What do you think? And he was able to walk me through it. And friends that are dentists, or surgeons, or engineers, or like whatever, like investors, friends that like are into like cryptocurrency and in stocks and in business and in marketing. Just reached out to a good friend about a marketing thing. So build up this network of people that you can help and serve and give and invest in, but they have character and competence as well. Again, and you guys talk about a community. You want a community? Join the Be the Man tribe. That's one of the reasons I literally created it, so that there's a community there of good people with lots of different skills who are there for each other. We had it was evening time in the U.S. and really early morning here for me. We were discussing a great book together, and it was amazing just to connect with these men and hear them discuss ideas together and support each other and cheer each other on and challenge each other and build this camaraderie and this connection. That's why we did it. Now we have a community. We've created a community. It already exists. You don't have to go out and look for it. It already exists. Just join it and bring your value and add what you have and receive what they have to offer. The community's there, and they're scattered all over, and they're in all kinds of different industries and different assets. And I could reach out to any one of them at any time and say, hey, can you help me with this? Or what are your thoughts on that? Or how can I help you, right? So get into communities like that already exist that are, again, high caliber. There's a lot of communities out there, and I've connected with a lot of them that they're not high caliber. And it's sad, and it adds more drama and more trouble and more toxicity. There's a lot of toxic people and relationships and communities out there. So build those communities, build those relationships. And if you have proximity, again, just serve and help and love and connect and try to lift and build. Be the tide in your community and lift the people up, lift all the boats, so to speak, in the area, and surround people, invite people to come into your world and get connected so that you, can you see this? Can you picture it? Like, I just have this vision, and we've created it in our own life, very strategically. We've created it all where physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, socially, financially, we're squared away. We're ready, right? And we've acquired assets, but we've also turned ourselves into assets. And it makes life so much more fun, so much more enjoyable, less stressful. We're more capable. There's more opportunities. We take advantage of more opportunities. Life is just better. And then when something happens, we're prepared. And we've been through so many things and gone through so many trainings and taken our kids through it. Like, you can't prepare for everything, but you can genuinely be prepared for most things. And when you have that feeling, you guys know what I'm talking about. When you have that sense of certainty and confidence and readiness, you know the feeling when you're ready, when you're prepared. Man, it feels amazing. But you also know the feeling when you're not. And that feels terrible. This is downright terrifying. You've all experienced that. So play that out. Play it out in your mind. Of either, on one hand, missing out on an opportunity that you could have taken advantage of had you been prepared. On the other hand, feeling the full weight of a disaster because you failed to prepare. And then play it out. Feel it. Like, allow yourself to think through it, walk through it, and feel it, of being totally ready and then being totally unprepared. And let that be a driving force. So there's a bunch of things I gave you to do there. If you want some other recommendations, reach out, shoot me a message, connect with me on social. It's greg.denning on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. You can shoot me an email, greg@gregdenning.com. Just hit me up if you have very specifics. Or I have some good friends that do these trainings for like really hardcore, awesome first responder training and self-defense, guns, fighting, that kind of training as well. Happy to recommend them because I've worked with them. I know them. They're just rock solid. They have character and competence. So happy to pass that along as well. And let me know how I can help and serve. And let's all get ready And again, all of this in part is a kind of community. The listeners here, we can be a community, and we can all have this desire and be preparing ourselves and our families, and then we can connect, right? And have this. And again, I'll invite you to seriously consider joining us in the master class and the tribe. If you like this stuff, you like the podcast, be sure to leave us a review and share this with friends and family, colleagues. And let's just keep leveling up, gentlemen. Thanks for being here. Thanks for caring. Thanks for listening. Thanks for striving to be men, high caliber men of character and competence. Be the man.